Guys, welcome to a FIFA 21 potential ratings video. Today we're going to be doing a under 21 Premier League edition of this series. I think we've got a few interesting players here that will get massive upgrades going into the next FIFA, and I think these ones are more interesting than the top tier players that may get like a +1 or a +2. Like these players that are like mostly silver becoming golds. That's what interests me about FIFA. You know, the players that aren't really usable becoming usable on the next game. So let's get into the first one, and it is actually, I think, the biggest boost of the episode, and it is Billy Gilmour from Chelsea. Of course, obviously had a very good season at Chelsea. Obviously Frank Lampard bringing through a lot of youth, and Billy Gilmour's obviously benefited from that. And obviously that 62 rated card, I think he got a man of the match card that I think went up to a 75, maybe a silver, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think for FIFA 21 he'll get the 76, maybe a 77 rated card out of obviously a Scottish central midfielder. Quite a interesting player, obviously, with good dribbling and passing and decent pace. I just boosted up those a bit, and I think he got a goal in the FA Cup anyway. He may have got a couple, to be honest, so that's why I've boosted his shooting up by quite a bit. And yeah, quite an interesting one. Obviously Scottish links to Robertson and a few players here and there in the Scottish League, so very good one to kick it off. On to the next player then, we'll go on to Gabriel Martinelli. 68 rated on FIFA 20. Obviously he did get a future stars that went up to a 90, I think. And I think you'll get a good 9, maybe even a 10 plus rating boost. Obviously I've gone for the 77. Again, I wasn't too sure what position to put him as. Obviously he goes on that left hand side, but also kind of a centre forward in a few, I think, Europa League and Cup games and stuff like that. I think he scored a hat-trick this season, but I could be wrong, so that's why I've given him quite a big boost, and maybe a slightly too high boost in that shoot, and I probably should have gone closer to 77. But yeah, really good dribbling, great pace, and quite physical as well for a player that's quite young. And yeah, overall really nice card. Would be quite OP for the start of FIFA 21, with him being pacey and having a decent skill move. On to the next player then, we do have Reece James from Chelsea, and I'd say this is probably the most controversial of any of them in this episode. Obviously you will get a boost up to a gold card, but I wasn't too sure what rating to put him at, and as you like, if I go later on in the video, you'll see that this rating may, I don't know, I think maybe could have done with a 76 or a 77, but he's done a really nice job at right back for Chelsea. Obviously Azpilicueta has gone to left back, and yeah, I think overall this card is very good for FIFA. Like, it's got pace, it's got physical, and quite good at passing as well. Good few crosses into the box, but defensively really strong player. Obviously can play in the midfield as well. And yeah, the future of Chelsea, there's actually a few in this episode, Chelsea players, because they're just, you know, they've had that great season with all the young players doing well. Did really well last season at Wigan, of course, Reece James, and yeah, doing really well in the Premier League now. On to the next one then, when we do have another Arsenal player, and it is Saka. Now, I wasn't too sure what position to put him down as, because he's got a, I think he started as a left mid, as you can see here, as a 65 rated, so we've given him a +13, which I think is justified. But he's been mainly playing at the right wing the last couple of games, but he was playing left back, he was playing right back, so he can literally play anywhere. He could even play centre mid, I think he's played there a few times. But I thought I'd just keep him as a left winger. It really depends, because obviously you got Pepe on the right wing, obviously Martinelli's on the left as well, but yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. Wasn't too sure what position to put him as, but I think he's had a great season for Arsenal. Being versatile when you're young is quite important. Obviously, just to get into the first team, it doesn't really matter where you're playing as long as you're playing. And yeah, I'll be interested to see where he does settle as a position, because he is so versatile. I've given him a big boost to his defending, of course, because he has been playing at fullback quite a bit. I could have even gone to like 65 for him. Really good dribbling, nice little goal against was it Wolves? I think he did it on the volley. +7 in pace, and a really good passing and physical upgrade as well. So really can't wait to see Saka in FIFA 21. I kind of hope, in a way, I should have maybe put this card as an attacking midfielder, because then obviously you can convert him to centre mid or CDM or whatever. But I thought I'd just keep him at the left wing and not be too controversial with the position. On to the next player then, we do have a player that was on loan at Derby County last season. That is Mason Mount. I think he's had a really good season. There's a few Chelsea fans out there, and fans in general, that just don't really rate him. I'm not too sure why. The stats show that he's had a great season for Chelsea. They're probably going to get Champions League football, and yeah, I think an 82, he's going to get at least a +1. Whether he gets a +3, we'll have to wait and see. I think like an 80 or an 81 is maybe more realistic, but I thought I'd just go for an 82. Why not? See if EA are a bit more ambitious with the ratings, of course. But yeah, we've given him a nice boost to his dribbling and passing, his main attributes, of course. Not the fastest of players, but still decent pace. +3 in shooting as well, and a little bit in physical and defending. But yeah, 82 rated for Mount. Really good card. I kind of hope that he gets 4-star skills as well. That was the one main problem with his card this year. His future stars, for example, just didn't quite have the skill moves, with him only having 3. So hopefully gets 4, and we'll have to wait and see. On to the next player then. It is Mason Greenwood from Manchester United, and he's kind of burst onto the scene in the last, since lockdown pretty much. He did do well before lockdown, but he's definitely got himself a number of goals since the start of this restart. And I think a 79 rated card is probably about right. Maybe a 78, we'll have to wait and see. But I thought just because he does play for Manchester United, EA, they're quite nice to Manchester United fans with the ratings. There's a lot of players that are very high rated, when realistically, for example, Jesse Lingard's 82 rated. So when you put him out as an 82, it kind of makes sense, if that's what EA are going on. But yeah, Mason Greenwood, really good youngster, really good finishing. Of course, got some great goals with that left foot as his. Probably should have kept him as a centre forward, maybe even like a right mid, because he hasn't played as an out and out striker. But it's, the position and all that stuff, the EA will make that decision. It's more down to the ratings in this video. But yeah, I think a 79, slightly higher than Saka, but slightly less than Mount. That's probably where I would put Greenwood in terms of the season so far with a rating, and it would be a really OP card actually. It's basically a slightly less good version of Rashford, of course. So yeah, really good card for Greenwood. Hopefully it's a central card, because then you can use him a little bit more. On to the next player then. It is Foden from Manchester City. Now this is a bit of an interesting one, because he hasn't actually played too much. I'm kind of assuming this on... I maybe should have gone for an 81, because obviously Mount's an 82, and obviously he's played much more games than Foden. But I think the ability that Foden has, he probably will be an 82, just because he plays for Manchester City, of course. And yeah, it'll be a really nice card. Obviously, really good dribbling. I think he's got 4-star skills, quality passing as well, quite pacey, and nice shot on him here and there, getting a goal. I think he got one in the Carabao Cup final. So yeah, I think Phil Foden, good little player. Obviously, a number of the number of English youngsters that we've shown in this episode. You got Foden, Greenwood, Mount, Saka, Reece James. I was about to say Gilmour, but then I pulled out of that one. But yeah, Foden. It's going to be really interesting to see in a few years' time who's actually playing for England and being the players that start, because obviously in the last few years we've gone through a bit of a transitional stage with bringing in youngsters, which is good to see. I just realised I've not put Trent in this video. I think he's under 21, isn't he? And I probably should have put him in the video, but I've completely forgot. But maybe I'll put him in another one, because he's such a high rated card. This was more about making players that are below 76, 75 rated, and pushing them into the 80 mark. So yeah, another great season for Foden. Obviously we'll get more games next year with David Silva going, and an 82 sounds about right. On to the final player, and it is Christian Pulisic. Again, another Chelsea player. I think half the players, at least in this episode, have been Chelsea players, but since they have been playing a lot of youngsters this season, and doing amazingly well, being in the Champions League spots, you got to give them boosts, and that's what EA are probably going to do. I think this card's a bit of a different one. Obviously, most of them in this episode have been either like silver or low rated gold. So Pulisic to go from a 79 to an 83, I think that's realistic. Whether you guys think that or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I think he'll at least get an 81. maybe an 82, especially being American as well, obviously for the marketing of that. Obviously EA are going to want these players to do well. Financially it'll help them out, and yeah, I think Pulisic, really good season for him. I think he's got 10 goals this season for Chelsea in the Premier League, so that's why I've given him a +8 in shooting, +2 in pace, +3 in dribbling, and +4 in passing. Overall, a really nice card. Can't wait to see how old his rating's actually in this episode, because this is, like, as I said at the start of the video, this is what interests me about FIFA, players that aren't really usable becoming usable in the next FIFA. So yeah, overall, that about wraps it up for this video. Make sure you do leave some comments down below on what rating you think these players should be. I think overall I've got about the right rating. Maybe Reece James, you know, 1 or 2 ratings too high, but I think, you know, a right back's an interesting one because he has got quite good stats in terms of his pace. He's got physical, he's good at defending. He should probably be quite high rated, whereas players that, for example, Martinelli, not good at defending, not good at being physical, so he's going to be a low rated player. So we'll have to wait and see. Of course, we've not got too long to wait, about a month or two until EA start dribbling out some ratings of the actual players. So make sure you do leave a comment if you want to see any other players being rated, and yeah, leave a like if you did enjoy it, and see you soon. Bye.